birthday 2 years ago, I was standing in my living room with my heart pumping out of my chest. I was on the phone with Mohammed, the Moroccan scammer. Mohammed and his crew had conned me, recorded compromising footage of me during a video call, and had also accessed my Instagram public profile and linked it to my crypto wallet. Over the phone, Mohammed had a simple proposition for me. إما تدفع أو الفضيحة. Pay up or face a scandal. He wanted $3,000 delivered via crypto in order to delete the footage and make this all go away. I decided to cooperate with Mohammed. He seemed like a businessman wanting to make a deal. He was calm and collected, and after all, he promised to delete my footage. He also didn't ask for a huge portion of my wallet. But as soon as the crypto payment option was no longer viable, Mohammed grew irritated, and I was dealing now with a lunatic. He was screaming, threatening me, calling me names, swearing at me. The other option was to pay him via international money transfer. So I convinced him that this could be a viable option. I drove to South Dallas, found a 24/7 international money transfer service. With my bank cards in hand, I walked to the ATM. I maxed out the daily limit on several of my accounts. I had the sum in hand, and I approached the front counter staff at PLS. Frantically, I asked them to transfer the money to Morocco as soon as possible. My friend's mother is dying, I told the staff. They need my help. I need to send this money right away. That was the lie Mohammed told me to use in order to avoid raising any suspicion. The staff were a bit reluctant, but they agreed, with the caveat that they can only send $1,000 at a time. The first $1,000 made it over to Mohammed instantly. He was very pleased. His tone was now of gratitude. Thank you, my brother. You saved my mother's life. It's like he almost believed his own lie. Anyway, he hangs up. I return to my apartment. It was now 2 a.m. I had work the next day, so I thought I'd get some rest. During the panic of the last few hours, I had not yet reckoned with the fact that I had cheated on my girlfriend. Can I really trust Mohammed? He did promise to delete the footage, but I also knew he was a lunatic. So what's a scammer's word worth, really? But before I could complete that thought, my phone was ringing off the hook. It was Morocco. Mohammed was furious. His money was taking too long to arrive. He thought I was pulling a quick one on him. I wish I was that resourceful or enterprising, but I calmed him down after he had been swearing at me and threatening me. I convinced him that I will call customer service and have it sorted out in no time. So I get on the phone, I call Western Union, and I'm immediately dispatched to the fraud department. The fraud agent asks me a few questions, and based on my responses, they conclude that I am the victim of an international money transfer scam. They advise me that they're not able to complete my transfer as requested, and that I can collect my money from any of their locations. This is when the real panic set in. I knew now that there was no other way to pay Mohammed, and he will likely deliver on his threats. So to buy myself some comfort, I decided to block all his numbers. But he still had my contact information, my contact list, and my phone number. So naturally, he reaches out from another account that he controls. The next barrage of messages was a bunch of screenshots of Mohammed delivering on his threat. He had sent this footage to everyone in my contact list, plus some second and third degree connections to maximize the damage. I was devastated. I knew now that I can't make this go away. I had to face the music. But it was now 6 a.m. and I was expected at work in a couple of hours. So I phoned my boss and I tell her that I need a mental health day. She asked me what happened, so I was all too willing to share. After all, that is the first friendly voice I speak to in hours. She asked me to not do anything stupid, that I can have the day off, and she even told me that her husband, who is a cop, who deals with similar situations, will call me right away. As soon as I hung up, a few minutes later, her husband was on the phone. He had just finished a graveyard shift, but he was as cool as a cucumber. He tells me that things like this happen all the time, there's no reason to panic, and that everything will be okay. He advised me to get my story straight in case I have to confront any connections or family members, or if I have to talk to law enforcement. Before he hung up, he gave me a phone number to call if I felt desperate. My next call was to my girlfriend of 5 years. I told her what had happened. She broke up with me on the spot. This was my peak devastation. I didn't know what to do. I knew a lot more consequences will soon arrive at my doorstep, but I didn't want to face the music. So I decided that I will go pick up my money, then I will go find a train and walk in front of it. I returned to my apartment with the remainder of my money, thinking, well, this is it. This is the last step. Gotta carry through with my plan. I decided to change my mind and call the number that the cop had given me earlier. Turns out it was the suicide hotline. The kind lady I spoke to over the phone convinced me to calm down and convinced me that I can work on my problems. So instead, I decided to chill out and call a therapist. I'm grateful for the services I got that day, not least because I can stand here and tell my story, but also because, in the end, there was no scandal. No one had seen the footage. It ended up in their spam inboxes. Mohammed and his crew were simply playing on my shame and fear. Thank you.